It was a little after 2 in the morning when I heard the front door creak open. I sat quietly on the living room couch, a single lamp glowing faintly beside me, casting long and stretched shadows across the room. The silence was heavy, broken only by the sound of her unsteady steps. My wife came stumbling inside, her hair tangled and her once familiar perfume replaced with a pungent mix of alcohol and smoke. When her eyes met mine, she wore a smirk, sharp, cruel, and colder than any blade could ever be. Without hesitation, she spoke words I will never forget. I got the attention I wanted. Those words echoed in my skull, burning with betrayal. I didn't respond with anger, didn't raise my voice, didn't question her. Instead, I let the silence between us grow, heavier than any excuse she might try to give. On the floor, not far from my feet, sat 2 neatly packed suitcases. I had spent the last several hours folding her clothes, tucking away the remnants of our shared life, preparing for the inevitable moment I knew would eventually arrive. When her eyes fell on the bags, her smirk faltered. "Your things are ready," I said, my voice calm but firm. For a brief moment, she laughed nervously, trying to convince herself I was bluffing. But as she studied my expression, the laughter drained from her lips. Fear, or maybe realization, flashed across her face. She stumbled over words, trying to explain, muttering something about needing space, about not feeling appreciated at home. But her excuses only revealed the truth. She hadn't gone out looking for herself. She had gone out seeking what she claimed I hadn't given her. The betrayal wasn't just in the act of her infidelity. It was in the way she justified it, as though her decision to destroy our trust was somehow my fault. I told her plainly that love was never about chasing fleeting attention. It's about loyalty, respect, and standing beside one another through dull days, hard times, and everything in between. I reminded her of the promises we made when we stood before family and friends on our wedding day. Promises she had broken so effortlessly. Tears welled up in her eyes, but I couldn't tell if they were born of guilt or fear of losing the comfort and security she had with me. She begged then, insisting it was only one night, a mistake, nothing more. But her earlier words betrayed her. She hadn't come home ashamed. She came home proud, wearing her betrayal like a badge, as if to rub it in my face. That kind of arrogance, that kind of deliberate cruelty, could never be forgiven. I stood, walked over to the suitcases, and pulled them closer to the door. She watched, silent now, realizing this was not a negotiation. Her voice failed her, and her confidence dissolved into panic. She tried once more to plead, but I cut her off. My decision was final. She had chosen her path the moment she walked through that door at 2 in the morning with that smirk on her face. I thought of the years we had invested, the sacrifices, the dreams we had once built together. And in that instant, I understood how fragile it all truly was. Everything we had crumbled in a single night, undone by her careless confession. Yet I felt strangely calm. Perhaps it was because, deep down, I had already seen this coming. The signs had been there for months, maybe longer. She asked me not to throw everything away over what she called a lapse in judgment. But I reminded her that it wasn't me who had ruined anything. She had done that with her choices, her actions, her words. A marriage can survive mistakes, yes, but not when betrayal is worn like a trophy. As she finally picked up her bags and carried them outside, the night air spilled into the room, colder than I remembered. I didn't follow her. I didn't ask where she would go or offer her comfort. That was no longer my role. That responsibility had ended the moment she chose to shatter what we had built. When the door closed behind her, I sat back down on the couch. The silence wrapped around me once more, but this time it felt different. Heavy still, yes, but peaceful in a way. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't hurt in the same way. I was finished. I realized then that the harshest kind of revenge isn't anger, nor is it cruelty. It's freedom. Freedom from someone who never truly valued you. In the days that followed, friends and family asked questions. Some encouraged me to forgive, to give her another chance. But I knew forgiveness without change is nothing more than permission to be wounded again. And I wasn't willing to live with that. My heart ached, of course. The pain was real. But beneath it, my dignity remained intact. And with each new sunrise, I felt lighter, stronger, more certain that letting her go was the best choice I could have made. She had chosen fleeting attention over lasting love. And I had chosen self-respect over endless pain. That night at 2 a.m. marked the end of our story, but it also marked the beginning of mine. A new story. One of rebuilding, of healing, of learning never to settle for someone who sees loyalty as optional.